Doing good.
Congrats on the captain.
Thank you. Yeah.
How did it feel to kind of get named captain?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it's a huge vote of confidence from our teammates, and I was surprised a little bit because the thing about this team is that we've got so many guys that could be named a captain. So many guys that are leaders, and it doesn't detract anything from them. I think we've got so many leaders that all have their own sort of leadership styles, and just to be selected out of those group of guys itself is an honor. But at the same time, it's like there's probably 5 other guys that could have gotten the same thing, and I wouldn't have batted an eyeball because there's, like I said, we got so many guys who've played a bunch and really lead their position groups and do things the right way.
What was your off season like? Some of us heard that you started the podcast and whatnot.
Yeah. So I was kind of in a place going into the summer where I didn't really need to do anything in the summer in terms of school other than, I had my workouts in the morning and I had the rest of these days to kind of fill. So I was looking around. I was comfortable in football. I was comfortable in school. And between talking to there's a guy named Hakeem Vallis who just retired from the NFL. He's a real estate investor now, and Yogi Roth, who works for Pac-12 Networks, kind of formulated this idea to help put myself out there more and share more of me other than the football side of me, of what people see on Saturdays and stuff like that. So I was just kind of trying to fill up my schedule as much as possible with all the free time that we have this summer. So I was doing that. I worked an internship, and I did take a class in the first half of summer. So it was pretty much in all my free time between work, football, and class is when I would work on that. And it was kind of a summer-long process. And just 2 weeks ago now, 2.5 weeks ago, I started kind of rolling them out, and I've got some in the bank because I'm pretty busy right now to roll out weekly. Plan on hopefully trying to do it through the regular season. So there's a lot more to come. It's really exciting. Yeah.
Where can people find your podcast?
It's everywhere you would normally listen to podcasts. Okay. So the Apple Podcast app is usually the big one where people listen. So
what's the name?
It's called So Stignacious. There's a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who's actually the second episode. I interviewed him. He works for SNL and the Seth Meyers Late Show and stuff. And we went to summer camp growing up together, and it was a practical joke. We convinced this whole camp of people, like 400 people, that this word Stignacious was a real word and it was just completely made up. So that's a fun little thing about me, and I wanted to include that, and I did an interview with my friend. So but if you just search that, or you can search my name, Jake Curhan, should show up on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else people listen.
Can you talk about that word again? How to spell it and what the hell did
Yeah, so it came from, so it was like halfway through the summer, my friend looked at me, he's like, we should do this, we should convince everybody this is real. He's like, what should the word be? And I had a friend back here, I grew up in Marin, who went to St. Ignatius High School. And every time I saw a sweatshirt, the ST dot Ignatius in my head, I'm just like trying to read it as a word, like Stignacious. So that's where that came from. That was just always in my head. But so it's the same way you would spell St. Ignatius. So it's Stignatious.
And that's the name of your podcast.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the football side of
Yeah,
things.
of course. That's what we're doing right now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's very early in the process. What can you say about some of the younger guys who have just come in, or guys that are vying for more playing time?
Yeah. I can speak mostly for the offensive line. We haven't been too much together yet, but there's a couple of I think some of those guys, those freshmen on the O-line, are going to be really good players for us. Braden Rome and McCade are both going to have a chance to at least try to get on our travel squad. They've been pretty impressive so far. I know they're both way further than I was technically when I came in. And they're both pretty athletic guys. They've been playing a couple of different positions. And that new, I think with that new rule as of last year, the 4-game redshirt rule, that both those guys should be able to see a little bit of playing time throughout the season, if not compete for some more. But those guys have impressed me so far. And some of the other younger guys have started to show some strides too, like Brandon Mello. Matt Cindric gets better every time we get on the field. Yeah.
So you've been noted by coaches and players as a guy who's made a big jump after sophomore year. What would you attribute that to? Is it partially strength and conditioning, partially just getting comfortable in the offense?
I mean, the hardest thing about playing offensive line is definitely the mental side of it. A lot of, stuff you never did in high school, like reading safeties and corners and linebacker alignments, and it's kind of hard to get used to on the field, even when you can get used to looking at it in film. So yeah, that's one thing. The more experience you get, the easier it gets, the more everything slows down. Another thing is, I feel like never feeling like you're good enough, or like not feeling like you're good enough, but never acting like you're good enough. Continuing to work and do the same drills that all these younger guys who just came in, who really need the work to get to a spot to be able to play, doing all that same stuff and with the same intensity. And yeah, so I mean, I think a combination of just playing a lot and continuing to work the same way.
And physically, you look like you've transformed over the years too.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get better physically. I think this is my 4th season now with Cal, and this is the best, most in shape, and by far the strongest we've been collectively as a team. This offseason was great, getting fully into Coach Beck's program to, really bulk us up. We're split up between the skill position and the big guys, and we're really working on getting the big guys stronger, and it's definitely shown up in the weight room and the numbers, and excited to see what happens when we start getting some pads on too.
Can you touch on the transition from Ooms to Mike Safell at center? How different is that, and how much time is that going to take to get used to?
So there were a couple of times Mike's played center over the last couple of years, and I think I false started one of the times because the cadence is a little different. That's on the silent count.
Okay.
We haven't gotten into any of that yet. But other than that, Addy was a great player. One of the things that made Addy so great was his football IQ and being able to identify things really well and really quickly. And it helped all of us across the line out. Mike's not that far behind that right now. Technically, he's one of the best players I've seen on the offensive line in my 4 years here. And I think there was never any question about that. And he's a really smart kid in the classroom, and that shows up in football too. I think, really it's just going to take playing a couple games at center for him to get even quicker, but he's already doing a great job.
Okay, anybody else? Okay.
Good?
Jake.
All right.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, guys.